Anxiety and the waiting mode trap. So, anxiety is not just an emotional state, it's an action killer. One of the most destructive patterns that we can ever, get involved with is called waiting mode. This is the psychological loop where an individual delays decisions, actions, progress while waiting for certainty, permissions, motivations, perfect conditions. Waiting mode creates a paralysis disguised as productivity, overthinking, research, preparing, but never executing. It's, what the mechanics of waiting, we're definitely going to, dive deep into it, and why anxiety fuels it and how to eliminate it through identity shifts, structured systems, and execution first principles. So let's identify what anxiety is first. Anxiety is the body's natural response to perceived threats or uncertainty. It is heightened state of arousal where the brain becomes preoccupied with potential risks, future consequences, and what if scenarios. So, neurologically, anxiety activates the amygdala, which sends the nervous system into a sympathetic fight, flight, or freeze state. Psychologically, it fixates attention on future based fear, control, and risk aversion. And behaviorally, it produces patterns of over planning, under executing, self sabotage, and indecision. Anxiety, when unmanaged, leads directly to waiting mode. Waiting mode is the cognitive behavioral patterns where someone waits for the right time before acting. They need more information, more data before committing to an action. They want external validation before moving, plans, rewrites, and overthinks instead of executing. It's the comfort of inaction masked as preparation. It is the comfort of inaction masked as preparation. Waiting mode it appears to be productive on the surface. It's researching, organizing, planning, but results in no forward momentum, no, no movement. So it's rooted in fear, insecurity, and a desire to avoid short-term discomfort and or failure. So the psychology behind the waiting mode emerges from a conflict between the need for safety and the desire for progress. Safety brain avoids risks, failures, rejection, pain. Growth brain wants progress, outcomes, and meaning. When anxiety is present, the safety brain dominates the growth brain. It hijacks logic, exaggerates risks, suppresses action. Common psychology beliefs that fuel in waiting. If I wait, I won't make a mistake. If I prepare more, I'll be ready. If I wait for the right moment, I'll feel more confident. If I do nothing, I can't fail. These beliefs create a false sense of control, but actually create stagnation and internal chaos. How anxiety fuels the waiting trap. Anxiety amplifies uncertainty and distorts perception. So a trigger might be fear of failure. What if I mess it up? It results in delay. Fear of judgment. What will they think of me? It means that we need to wait for permission, even if it's from ourselves. Overwhelm. I don't know where to start. It's literally avoidance. Perfectionism. It's just not good enough yet. Endless editing. There's so many people trapped in each one of these. It's not even funny, but I've seen the perfectionist one really, really have, a devastating effect on people. Control fixation. Need to plan more, over preparing. So anxiety tricks the brain into believing that doing nothing is safer than doing something. Understand that. Anxiety tricks the brain into believing that doing nothing is safer than doing something. But long term, this leads to internal dissatisfaction, low self-esteem, and missed opportunities. There's a huge cost of waiting mode. So, there's missed deadlines, growth, momentum. erosion of self-confidence and internal trust, constant mental fatigue and burnout from looping thoughts. It's just a never-ending loop. Identity confusion. Why can't I follow through? Team-wide dysfunction if leaders operate in waiting mode. You gotta realize some truisms here. Waiting is not neutral. It's an active form of self-sabotage. Not saying that, trying to say that you can't wait for till the time is right on some things when it makes true sense and is not founded in fear. You really got to play that game hard when you're, and most of the time when you're not following through like you're supposed to. So people in waiting mode often show, constant planning, list making, or outlining without execution, difficulty starting or finishing tasks, avoidance of conversations, especially the hard ones, decisions or commitments, obsessive researching and often asking others for opinions, emotional loops of guilt, shame, and frustration. They often look busy but produce very little. So some of the core root causes are unresolved fear, often rooted in childhood conditioning or past failures, perfectionism, the belief that action must be flawless or not done at all, low self-trust, not believing you can handle mistakes or outcomes, over-identification with outcomes, tying your worth to success or failure. If you're tying your worth to success or failure of any one action or any string of actions, good luck with that. Lack of clarity, not knowing what to do next, why or even why it matters. So neurological and emotional triggers. Your cortisol can spike from imagined threats created, it can create physical discomfort, dopamine addiction and to short-term distractions, scrolling, messages, rewards waiting. Fight, flight, or freeze response triggers freeze, waiting mode. I mean, and I have seen most people just think of fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, but it's fight, flight, or freeze. And freeze is what happens most of the time. And then if you freeze or you're getting somebody else, one of your employees or somebody you're working with to freeze, it's going to be 5 to 15 minutes before they can make it a realistic decision without it being based on fight, flight, or freeze. So to fix it, we must reprogram our emotional patterns, not just force productivity. So think about it. If you're an over-preparer, you're the business owner, has 5 outlines of the same email campaign, it's been revised 7 times, keep waiting until Monday and loses the lead, all of the leads for every week because we keep waiting for Monday and Monday never happens. The waiting leader, a shop manager, avoids confronting underperformance, hoping the team will figure it out, read my mind, but then morale and results plummet. The waiting creator, it's a content marketer with 40 blog drafts saved as in progress. None are published. They're stuck editing instead of executing. All 3 are waiting for perfect conditions. All 3 lose time, trust, and traction. You literally have to reframe your identity. You got to go from waiting to execution. Change starts with your identity, and it literally is not motivation; it's your identity. So if I don't already have a bunch of on this subject matter, I'll definitely be getting a lot more, in the near future. So who am I when I execute despite fear? What identity do I need to adopt? What does a doer believe that I don't? You have to shift the focus from I'm anxious, I need to wait, to I'm in control and I move anyway. I'm in control and I move anyway. Waiting is an identity rooted in fear. Execution is an identity rooted in ownership. Ownership is such a huge word right there that it's not even funny. And if you think about Adler versus Freud, and Freud being, a, a victim mindset, and Adler, who was around the same time as Freud, we don't know about him because we didn't, adopt his principles. But his principles are, if we would have, the country would be totally, totally different than it is right now because it's grounded in ownership. So, a step by step strategy to fix the waiting mode. You need an awareness audit. Track every task you delayed in the last week, or track every task that you're going to delay the coming week if you can't remember all of them. Identify the thoughts and the feelings behind the delay. Label them honestly: fear, control, overwhelm, whatever they might have caused them. And then we're going to name it and reframe. So this is anxiety trying to protect me. This is my brain choosing safety, not truth. Name it, reframe it, and then reclaim action. What's going to be your reclaim action? You set a 20-minute timer and act with no edits, no analysis. You literally execute before you feel ready. Build evidence that you can move under pressure. Define the success, not outcomes, not perfection, just forward motion. Forward motion is success. Whether you realize it or not, execution is success, period. There's no getting around it. Nothing happens unless you make something happen. And nothing's going to happen if you don't move. So we're not looking for a perfect outcome. We're looking for the outcome to be you, not your goal. Because the goal is you. If you can master this part of it, if you can just have forward motion, you already won. So again, the wins are going to be your reps, not your results. And then identity anchoring, you're going to need to write and repeat. I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. Create a scorecard. 5 executions per day, no exceptions. If you can get 5 executions a day, I mean, wow, especially if you got none right now, well, and they don't have to be big ones, small ones. I love the proverbial just make your bed. At least that if you didn't get nothing else to the rest of the time, at least you made your bed. They don't have to be big. So write down 5 small tasks daily and complete them no matter what. Track moments you feel the urge to wait. Capture the thought, the feeling, and the truth. If it can be done in under 2 minutes, do it immediately. Set time blocks where you produce without editing, refining, or evaluating anything. Tell someone what you'll execute today and then report back to them. If you want to try and fix your culture or your team, you're going to need to create a culture of execution, not perfection. Reward speed, reward speed and progress. We're not trying to reward somebody acting like they're working when they're not. Then you've got to set your non-negotiable deadlines with real consequences. Normalize imperfect action, and then use one-on-one reviews to identify team members stuck in waiting mode. Waiting behavior is contagious. Execution must become the cultural standard. And then we have to have an anti-waiting protocol. You have to have awareness, name the behavior and thought, ownership, take responsibility for action, not outcomes, micromanagement, move forward immediately, reinforcement, celebrate reps, not results, identity, embody the version of yourself and that really gets it done, that executes. Anxiety and waiting mode don't just delay tasks. They erode your identity, your confidence, and your progress. The fix isn't more thinking. It's more movement. Repetition builds trust, execution builds confidence, and action reclaims your life. Stop waiting, start moving. Your future self doesn't live in fear. So no matter what we're doing, no matter how we're doing it, we are moving forward. Our new identity is that we are action based, not waiting mode based. That simple. Stay safe, stay strong.